What's up? This is your boy Styles here, westcoaststyles.com. And we've got, man, a special treat for you guys today. Man, I got my brother Chuck Creekmur in the house from allhiphop.com. Man, the goats, you know what I'm saying? The goats of this shit, you know what I mean? And man, and we have Money B in the house from Digital Underground. Man, first of all, rest in peace to Shock G. That came was a real blow to us, when that happened. But we just want to talk to you today about his life and about some of the things that you remember about him. First of all, when did you first meet Shock G, and what was your first impression of him?
I first met Shock. It was 1988, and we were myself and DJ Fuse, who's the DJ for Digital Underground. Him and I were a group. Well, Fusion, we were a group before Digital Underground, and us being from Oakland in the Bay Area, we were actively shopping our demo, but we were doing like talent shows and showcases throughout the East Bay. Shock already had, or Digital Underground already had a single called Underwater Rhymes that they were promoting. And at the time it was him, Shock G, and Shotmaster J, who were actively Digital Underground. Of course, Kenny K was one of the original members out of Tampa Bay, but he wasn't in the Bay Area yet. And we were on the same show circuit together. And Digital Underground needed a DJ, and Fuse was like the hottest DJ in the Bay at the time. So somebody that Fuse knew Master J, this girl, Tanya, and they set up a meeting to meet with Fuse to see if he would be the DJ. Well, it just so happened that Fuse was renting a room in my mom's apartment, so he was staying with us. So the meeting was at our house. So I just remember them coming to the crib, and Shock had on like this the little beatnik beanie, like the Panthers used to wear, and these funny shades, and he had on these sweatpants, and he had on these Pumas with these tassels on them. And then Shotmaster J, he had all these scarves and shit all around him. And I just remember my mom kind of peeking out the room when they came in, because they're like 7 years older than me. I'm like 18, they're like 26 or whatever. And she thought I was in trouble with like some dope dealers or something. She was like, what the fuck is going on? And they come in and they sitting there and they're talking to Fuse. Of course, I'm chilling, I'm listening to everything, because we're a group. And Fuse goes, I'll DJ with you guys, but you gotta rock with Money D, because we're a group, we're a team. And that's, Fuse was always gonna be my friend, because he was like, it's us or nothing. And that's really how it started, Shop wasn't looking for another MC. And truth be told, he really wasn't into West Coast rappers like that at the time. He's from New York originally, by way of Tampa, Florida. That's where he went to school in Tampa. That's where he came up. So he's really an East Coast, dude, musician. Me, I'm from Oakland, but I'm like straight up B-boy. I was a DJ before I was rapping, did graffiti, I was a break dancer. My original name was Egyptian Kid, because I was good with touch, shit like that. And so it wasn't, people always look at it and they think you're a group, y'all from the same hood, y'all grow up together, whatever. It was never like that for me and Shock. It started out strictly as music, and we became brothers. But even so, we always lived totally different lifestyles. What I mean? He was a straight up P-Funk, funketeer, musician, played the keys, he loved jazz. And I was a straight up B-boy, dance hall reggae. I'm in the streets, the cats that look like my friends didn't look like his friends. It was just, it kind of reminded me, and people always, when I say it, not to take it the wrong way, but we were outcasts before outcasts. Big Boy was this way and Andre is this way. That's how me and Shock were. We were totally different, but we would come together and do it. And when we were together, we were together. Feel me?
Yeah. How did his being from the East Coast? How did that work? Was there any contrast? There was a lot of well, New Yorkers are known to be a bit, I guess, judgmental would be the nicest word. I know the rest of the country feels strongly about how New Yorkers can come off sometimes. How was Shock though?
He was the same way, but here's the thing, and and I've always heard when we did start touring and getting out there, people would always be like, "Damn, Money B is someone watching you. You always vibe well with us, whatever." And it's because a lot of people know this. I'm originally from Philadelphia. My family's from Philly, New Jersey, and all that. So I grew up. I would spend all my summers on the East Coast. So it never intimidated me. So it didn't, because what it is we always reject the unknown. We reject what we fear the unknown and we reject what we fear, right? But it never, I wasn't intimidated by it because I grew up around it. You know what I mean? So I didn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? So I understood it, but I knew that like I couldn't be intimidated by saying, because I grew up taking 2 short tapes to Philadelphia, an Egyptian Lover, and niggas going, get that bullshit out of here. But every year I come back with a new one. And be like, nah, y'all gotta listen to our shit, right? But at the same time, I would go to block parties with my older cousins, and they, in Philly they had all the DJs spinning Dance to the Drummer's Beat, and they had the Spoonie G albums. Spoonie G was one of my favorite rappers because he was smooth, right? And so I got a dose of all of that growing up, so I could relate to either way, and I wasn't intimidated by what he was saying or anybody from the East Coast was saying, but I also knew the value and what we brought out the West Coast to any situation. So I was just one of the things where I fit in wherever I was.
When Shock first donned the Groucho Marx get up, what was your thoughts on that? Did you trip out or what?
Not really, because if you knew Shock, he just tripped out anyway. So well before the Do What You Like video, which was the first video that you saw Humpty in, he would just in the recording and just goofing around. We would, remember Underwater Rhymes, he's MC Blowfish. So, and he did all the artwork on all of the art on the covers. So he was rockadelic. You know what I mean? So he had all of these characters. But when we did Do What You Like and Humpty first appeared, he didn't have a name. He wasn't called Humpty Hump. He was just a character that was being introduced. So when we did the video and he was dressed up like that, I was more tripping off the fish that he brought to the hotel to flop around in the hallway just for a scene, or the pig that he wanted to run through the party with throwing confetti. All of that shit was just as unique and strange and different and exciting at the same time. Plus, it was our first video, so we didn't pay it that much mind.
When did you guys know you were onto something? I know there were a lot of years, lean years, or just trying to figure it out. When did things start to really click and you knew it?
For me, and I would tell a story. I had a job before we first went out, and I worked for this. He was a private business owner. He did like education and shit like that. So it was the type of thing where he was cool if I needed to take a day off or whatever. So I remember in '89, this was before the Humpty Dance. Do What You Like was huge in Europe before it was here. So we toured Europe for like 2 months at the end of '89, going into '90. Then I told my boss, I was like, yo, I want to go do this music thing, but I'll be back in like January. Is it cool if I get my job back? And he's like, all right, it's cool. We come back. I think we had to, a few more spot dates. We had to go back to Germany, and then we had to do a couple of, and each time I would come back to my job. And then we did the Big Daddy Kane tour in '90 after Humpty Dance came out. And I still was like, yo, I got to go away for 2 more months when I come back. Can I have my job back? He said, yeah. Came back to work. But shit was out. And then the Public Enemy tour. And I said, I'm about to go a little bit longer. And then I got my brother a job and my good friend, Mac Moan, who's also a part of our career. Got them jobs. And when I left, I never came back. But I always tried to make sure that I had a situation until I had a situation.
Wow, that's amazing. And by that time, Pac was already a part of the group, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. What was your first impressions of him?
When I first met Pac, I met him and Ray Love and Dizzy. They were a group strictly dope. Now I remember, well, when I first met them was when they auditioned for us to see if H.R. was going to sign with the TNT record. And when I first heard them, I thought that Tupac and Ray Love were equally talented as rappers. But after they stopped rapping, and that's when Tupac's personality came out, and it was like almost clear from day one. When he was in the room, you were paying attention to him. Like he was just this outgoing. He was a comedian. He was witty. He was smart. Fearless. He asked a lot of questions. He just always had something to say. So it was just like, as far as the music side of it, he didn't really stand out more than Ray did. I thought they were both cool, right? But it was the extra stuff that you saw in Pac that was like, okay, something there.
How did he fit within the, Pac is a known leader, but how was he as a, disciple of Digital Underground and Shock G and you? How did he fit into that?
Pac was willing to do whatever it took to get where he wanted to go. So, and he was a very loyal person. To the extent if he liked you or if he loved you to death with everything. But if you got on the bad side, he was just as passionate against you. And he was part of our crew, so he was willing to do whatever it took for any of us to make sure that we were successful so that he could become successful. I remember one time something happened where my younger brother he went out with somebody that was part of his clique. And something happened to my brother. He got punched. He still got a scar on his eye. Pac was so fearful that I might get upset and he might lose his chance to make it, that he actually attacked his home. You know what I mean? Like,
wow.
He checked. Like, without getting into detail, it was bad. Huh?
One of his boys did it?
Say what?
One of Pac's homies did it?
No. My brother was with one of Pac's homies. And just because they let something happen to my brother, he did something to them.
Oh, wow. Pac did something.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, he was demonstrative in showing that he was not happy that something happened because he thought that I was going to react in a way. And I was like, shit happens.
That's crazy. Going back to Shock G though, he does not get the credit he deserves as a producer.
Not at all.
I mean, all those, man, the guy had created all those iconic sounds, from the Humpty Dance to Do What You Like, even to I Get Around with you and Pac and him. Tell me about his production skills, if you can, please, because I know you were there watching him doing that stuff.
Yeah, he was he was a true musician, right? Self-taught. Uh, I think he said he went to a couple of times. He went to music school or teaching class, but he never graduated from any type of music school. So he's basically self-taught. Um, like I said, he loved jazz. He was definitely son of the P, you know. Um, but he was a student of music. That's what really, he just so happened that he came up through hip hop. You feel me? Um, he actually had an R&B band called Spice Regime before Digital Underground. Funny enough, but
Oh wow!
yeah, we've always talked with him about that. But anyway, the way that he could blend the two was I hadn't seen it, and I still don't think that I've seen anybody marry the sounds the way that he did, because he not only was he a student of music, but so much so that he was a student of like these records. Like he could dig in the crate as well as anybody. You know what I mean? And pull out, but he would take specific sounds, not just loops, because
Right.
he was the music. He didn't need the loops to work for him. He just needed to pull elements of certain things. And then also, he was the first person that I saw, or producer, and probably one of the only producers that I ever saw make tracks like this. He would normally a producer would they make a beat for you. They're like, here's the intro, here's the chorus, here's your 16 bars for the verse, and here's this whatever. Shock would take say you have a break or a basic break and make the drums or whatever sound that he was working off, let it play, and then he would just play for like 32 or 48 bars, just play music, not even caring where the chorus is or whatever. He would just play what he felt, what sounded good. He'd do the chord progressions, where he thought that it should go, when it felt good to lean here, when it felt good to let it breathe, he would do that. Maybe run about 3 or 4 passes of just playing the music, and then he would sit back and be like, okay, let's put 4 bars of this here. Mun, I need to hear your voice for 6 bars right here. Okay,
Wow.
let's do the chorus right here. So he would create this outline of the song, and then he'd color it in with the elements that he wanted to color in. It could be my vocal tone, or it could be a piano solo, or it could be some bongos with Pee Wee's vocals. It could be scratches along with somebody else's something else. He would just hear it and be like, let's try that. And also, if you had an idea and you said it, he was willing to try it. Like he wasn't glued or stuck to any one thing. That he would come with an idea and he would just let it happen organically and naturally. And I never worked with anybody like that.
Wow.
He opened my world up. Me just thinking of it's just got to be the chorus, verse, this, that.
I was always told that there was an infamous fire that took his record collection, I guess, or something like that. I'm not really sure what it was. Is that true, or did you know anything about that?
Yeah. In '93, there was a huge fire in Oakland, but it happened like in North Oakland, Berkeley, Oakland Hills area, and Shock had an apartment. Him and my manager, Sue, were roommates. They had an apartment there. And it had his record collection, it had all his artwork, it had pictures, it had video pictures. And so much of everything that he had, he lost it all in the fire. And after that, he stopped holding on to it, you know. So he didn't say anything after that. It's
Wow.
I think that, you know, because it probably hurt him so much to lose everything that he didn't want to lose everything again. So in order to not lose everything, he just kept messing. So after that, he didn't collect anything.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me about the making of I Get Around? Like just that whole energy that you, Pac, and Shock had, like just in the studio and just how you guys put that all together, including your verse.
Well, I always tell people I can and I probably will eventually make an entire book around that one song. Like it's so much around like that. The song was originally Shock made that beat for a Digital Underground album. It was supposed to be our record. We sat on it like a whole summer. I was just riding around listening to it because we knew it was a hit beat or like a hit record, and we didn't want to fuck it up. So he'd always be like, "Y'all got something for this?" And we'd be like, nobody wanted to touch it and fuck it up. So eventually passed it on to Fear, and then I guess Pop, his next album was he had to turn it in like that October. So he had a shot. He's like, "Yo, I need you. I need a track." And Shop was like, "Well, we got this one beat everybody sort of liking and that's riding around. So why don't you take it and see what you can do?" He gave me the track. Next thing I know, Pop turns around and asks us to be on it. And at the time, Pop was living in Los Angeles. He had moved to LA at this time. And Pop wanted to make sure that we got on it. And like I said, and he really wanted us to be on the record. So what he did was, in case we didn't have time to write our verses, he wrote the whole song. He wrote a verse for me, and he wrote a verse for Shot. I was like, "Yo, I need you niggas to just go. Just please show up to the studio and da-da-da-da-da." The verse that Shot spit is a revised version of what Tupac wrote. So Tupac wrote that verse that Shot spit. Shot just kind of changed it a little and made it more himself. But Tupac wrote that verse. I didn't say the verse that Pac wrote for me.
Boy to the fullest.
Huh?
B-boy to the fullest.
Yeah, I wasn't dealing with it. And then I just remember Pop, he called and he checked after we did the song. And he was like, "Yo, did you do the verse?" And I was like, "Nigga, I killed you in your own song." And he was like, "Fuck you, nigga." I was like, "All right, wait till you hear it." After he heard it, I was like, "You heard it?" He's like, "It's all right." I was like, "Okay." But that's how we used to do. It was always a competition.
That video looked like a lot of fun. I wish I could have been there for that shit.
Man, listen. Talk about, you just mentioned the competitiveness. How I don't necessarily think it. The crew, Digital Underground, in that regard. Even with Pop, how did the parts all maintain themselves for so long? You always think that it crumbles apart. That somehow egos or something's going to clash.
Well, partly because remember, like I said, me and Fusion were all Fusion before Digital. Tupac, he had his own thing before Digital. Sophia, so Shot knew how, and all he was about was the music, right? So he's like, "Look, just come and contribute to this thing I'm trying to do, and I'll do everything in my power to make sure that you get your own situation. So it wasn't like we were competing to climb over one another. We all were supportive and trying to help everybody get to where they wanted to be. You know what I mean? So it wasn't competitive of like I'm trying to do better or get further. It was only for me a pop on some hip hop shit musically. Like I wanted to be the best rapper and he wanted to be the rapper. So when we were on songs like Same Song, I Get Around, Tilted Up, any of the songs we did, him and I were trying to murder each other on that specific song. And whether we did or not, we enjoyed each other's, we'd say that shit's dope, but I killed you. You know what I mean? But it was still dope and we still were like, nah, this nigga, he got it. So when I say always a competition, just strictly in the rhyming department. But I think that's any rapper who's on the song. If you say you're not, then you either lying or you're not trying to be just you. Because my opinion on any of those songs that we did, I always wanted to be the best rapper on the song. But if I wasn't, then I was still happy because I knew if it was better than mine, then it was dope. You know what I mean? Which made that the song was going to be dope. So we were pushing each other in that aspect to just like, don't be the weakest link. Everybody be on.
Wow. Can you give me some of your fondest memories of your brother Shock G? Like, what? Give me some memories of him that just stick out in your mind.
Just obviously just being around such a innovative and talented musician. And even if you ask me the same thing about Tupac, Tupac being like I've never met anybody who had a work ethic like Tupac. I've never worked with a musician or producer that thought outside the box the way that Shock did. So just being around that environment and then when we're just, on a tour, riding to a show, how silly we all would act, because Shock could break out into one of his characters at any time and go have a whole conversation with you as Peanut, Hakeem, and not one of them. You know what I mean? He had like a hell of them. And, but they all had their own personality. But then at the same time, he could have a real deep conversation with you about spirituality or politics. Same with Tupac, right? So we were all clowns in our own right, but we also were deep thinkers. So we could get on the same level wherever we were. And even if we weren't on the same level, we got it, right? So say, oh, you're on that shit right now. And if I'm not feeling it, I'll go to the back of the bus. But you still hear it, and you still chuckle listening to motherfuckers act silly. Tupac doing his Scarface impressions or his gangster movie impressions. Like, it was just a bunch of characters, you know what I mean?
Yeah, speaking of characters, one of my favorite songs from you guys is The Return of the Crazy One. And crazy record, but I was wondering in hindsight, this is something that I read after the fact, that he began to feel unrecognized as Shock G or as himself. And Humpty had taken over in terms of popularity and things like that. Was that something that you guys sensed and felt, and did you attempt to address it, or did you just roll with it?
No, he absolutely addressed it. He did at sometimes admit, to us, and you could see it that Humpty Hump had become bigger than Shock G or bigger than he wanted Humpty Hump. He wanted to be able to pack Humpty up and put him in the bag, right? And he wanted to be, because he really was this real musician. So any musician wants to be recognized for their art, not as a gimmicky, still, in his heart of hearts, he wanted you to know him as a musician more than a rapper. He didn't consider himself to be like a rapper's rapper. He didn't really care about it. He just could do it, and he would use it as a vehicle to get his music out, right? So one thing that we did from the very beginning was he was always looking for, because Humpty Hump was just a character, right? He was always looking for someone to play Humpty Hump so that he could remain Shock G. So his brother, like if you look at, and that's how we were able to maintain, the facade that it was two people, because there was always somebody when we would do public appearances. It would be his brother Kent, his homeboy Webby, his other one Paul. That we always would find somebody to be there at the specific photo shoot or the award show, but they couldn't speak it, right? As long as they didn't say nothing, they could look like it. And even when we would tour, his brother would be on stage and Shop would spin around and mouth something out, but you couldn't see him, right? Look at the same song videos, him and his brother. And they're playing off because they look so much alike. They could both be Shock G and Money D at the specific point. So what's kind of fucked up is he finally found his Humpty Hump. Young Hump, who is the newest member, and he's the guy that him and I do the Digital Underground shows now. But he actually mentored and kind of brought him along to be Humpty Hump in our show so that he can remain Shock. And Chris Clark actually we played Shock and Humpty in the All Eyes on Me movie. That's him. He's Young Hump with Digital Underground. But he was so happy that he finally found somebody who was actually an MC that could move the way that he moved and actually got the philosophy of being the character. Even though Young Hump is Young Hump and not Humpty Hump, on stage when we would do this reunion show, he had somebody so that Shock could remain behind the keyboard and just play the music while somebody else do the dancing and sweating and kicking and all of that stuff, right? So we were actually gearing up, to possibly do like a reunion tour or some shows.
Yeah.
And we obviously we didn't get to do it, but Shock actually introduced me to Young Hump. And he told me about him in 2014. He was like, yo, I got this cat. I mean, take him, go do the shows. But, I showed him how to do it. And then when I decided to come back, he was on a hiatus. Then we'll all do it together. And I thought it was I thought he set me up. I didn't know. I'm like, what you talking about, bro? It took me like a year to actually run into this cat. And when I saw how much he did, it looks like him, same height, everything. And then when I heard him spit, they freestyle, he's a performer. And so I saw what Shock was telling me. And then we started rocking together. And like I said, behind the scenes, we were always talking about whenever he was ready to come out, we were gonna do it. But yeah, it was a lifelong journey to physically separate himself to separate Shock G from Humpty, because there was a conflict at times that, we go places and all people, where's Humpty?
Yeah.
And when it's you're like, wait a minute, I can do other things.
Well, the character had become so popular. I thought you guys were going to put out a whole album of just Hump. That's how popular he became. I was surprised that you guys didn't do that.
I think Tommy Boy asked him to do that, and he turned it down. Now you probably have to interview H. Gregory or Tom Silverman and see how true that is. But I do remember there being some talk about that, and he wasn't interested in doing a Humpty Hump only album.
What about you? Did you ever consider solo, doing a solo thing?
Well, we had Raw Fusion, right? Which was kind of me and Fusion's collective interpretation of the music, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
And I've always been such a I don't know. My upbringing is all, my dad was in the Black Panther Party, right? So I went to the Oakland Community School. So my upbringing was always about community. So what's best for the group is always what's good for the collective, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I never really, like, my desire in this thing was never to be the most famous guy. That's why it was so easy for me to play my position willingly in this underground, because I just wanted to do the music. That was what I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
And even refuse. And maybe I would say maybe I thought too much of myself, but back then I was like, I didn't give a fuck being fused. I'm like, just tell me what to say. I know I'm dope. So whatever you want to talk about, let's do it. I never really had like this thing like I have to let people know what I think. I just wanted to do music and be a part of it. I actually did do a solo album in 1999. Well, it was released in 2000. That was the first Money B solo album. It's called Talking Dirty.
Okay.
It was a good album. It had A plus from Soul Initiatives on there, Mr. Mix from Two Live Crew, the whole Digital Underground crew, Shot produced on it. Check it out, our opportunity. And then the next thing that I did was a mixtape in 2007. And those are the only two real official Money B albums that I say were just me outside of anybody else, where I controlled the whole thing. Now, currently, I am working on new music, and before the pandemic, me and Young Hump did about 2 or 3 albums worth of music that we have sitting. I have a book, an autobiography that I hope to release this year, and depending on how it comes out, there's talks of maybe adding a soundtrack to that, which would be another 7 to 8 songs that are curated by me. So, I don't know if that answers any of the part of the question, but I'm always doing something. I'm always rocking. So I never really cared if it said Money B, Digital Underground, or Raw Fusion. It's still me. Hear my voice.
Yeah.
Which is probably, I just wanted to say, a lot of people told me back in the day that it should be Money B, and maybe that's why I'm not as recognized, because it doesn't say just my name on it. Because a lot of people, they know my face, but they don't even know my name. They just go, oh yeah, you're the guy that was on such and such. Or, yeah, I remember you from Digital Underground, and I'm fine with that.
Wow. Shock's passing took us all by surprise, and it really hit me hard. I mean, my man, I teared up. To be honest with you, and if you could if you don't mind, I mean, where were you and when you first heard that news, and just tell me about that day if you can, like when that all happened.
Now you're gonna make me cry. Right?
Yeah.
Actually, I was sitting right here. My phone rang. Turned around, answered, and it was one of my guys. He was crying, and then my other line clicked, and it was somebody else from my crew that I hadn't talked to in many years. And then that's when it started, like, get that feeling. And just,
Yeah.
oh, bad. Yeah.
I understand.
Were you guys in touch with Shock? How much were you guys communicating in these last years, or the years seem to fly by?
Yeah. Probably in the last, the last few years, me and Shock had communicated. If you know Shock, or if anybody knows, the first thing they're going to tell you is he loves to send you videos, email you videos, or text you videos, and he's always acting and doing crazy stuff. So that's really how he would mostly like to communicate with people through videos. If you called him, he wouldn't necessarily answer his phone, but he'd send you a video back. You know, because you call him, you don't answer, you might text him or email him, and then he'd send you a video answering your question or whatever. He just really wasn't a direct on the phone person these last few years. You know, so him and I would communicate a lot through emails, and he would send me these videos. I do remember one of our last two conversations, both of them, we probably talked for over an hour. Like I said, you know, him talking about, he would talk to all of us about, you know, this reunion thing that he wanted to come back and do, tour, or he would call, you know, or, you know, telling how he thought that me and Young Huff were going, and what, you know, what he was excited about, or things that he would ask us to do or not to do. Obviously, there's always some business to be handled. You know what I mean? So with Digital Underground, you know how shit is with us old niggas and publishing and rights and all that shit is like trying to get all that shit straight. There's shit we didn't know about in 1990. So, you know, it's always that. So there was always need for some sort of communication. But one of our last great conversations that we had, you know, I was telling him that I wanted to write a children's book, right? And you know, I don't know if you heard of it, I got a 6-year-old sitting around, and you know, he said that he wanted to illustrate it for me. Like I said, he's a great artist, so I was going to write a children's book, and he was going to illustrate it for me. And Adrian, he thought it was a great idea, and you know, I'd have to maybe, I guess, put it on myself for not writing it fast enough. You know what I'm saying? But I was so looking forward to doing that. But I also thought that I had more time. You know?
Yeah.
Because you never know when things are going to happen. So, you know, I don't know if you guys watched the funeral service.
Yeah.
But when I said, you know, don't wait, is what I learned from him, because I waited. You know, I was expecting a call from him about something that I just did, and he didn't call, and I didn't call him because I was waiting for him to call me, because I just knew he was going to call me, because it was going to be a really great conversation. And days later, he was fucked up. So, you know, I would say just can't wait. Think about it. You want to do it. Do that shit.
Yeah. I want to move to you for a second. I know that you haven't mentioned it, but you have a show that you do.
Mm-hmm.
You've been doing it for a few years, and I've even covered it for All Hip Hop, the Going Way Back show.
Right.
Man, why don't you tell us about your show, bro? Give us.
Going back show, the tagline is classic hip hop, raw and cut, and basically, you know, it's me and our show with my co-host Ty Teasy, who's also my wife. We just celebrate our heroes, our legends in hip hop. You know, we give them the flowers while they're here, and we revisit their classic music, classic times. We ask them to talk about what they're doing now. You know, a lot of people don't understand, just because you're not in the spotlight doesn't mean that you're not actively doing something. And a lot of these artists have moved along and become, you know, businessmen and women, jumping to different types of things, entrepreneurially, they have family, whatever it is, or some of them are even still touring, but on, you know, the classic hip hop or our own circuit. Just because we're not on your top 40 radio station doesn't mean that you're not alive, you know. So, you know, and a lot of these artists are people that I've either toured with, partied with, you know, got drunk with. So these are conversations that, you know, these are personal conversations.
Yeah.
And if it's not that, because I am such a historian or I'm such a student of hip hop, like, say for instance, you know, I interview, and I've been doing this. It started out as a podcast in 2008. So I've actually been doing this shit for a while.
So you said, what you're saying is you didn't copy off Drink Champs. That's what you're saying?
I love it. I love it, but I mean, the truth is the truth. You feel me? And I'm not taking anything away from that. I love it.
I'm just
those guys are great. But yeah, it's my show. Exactly what I would do. Just sit and do it. And I only say that to say, like, you know, the conversations are, even if it's not somebody that I have a personal relationship, say somebody like when I interviewed Just Ice, right? I'm asking him questions that I really wanted to know since I was like 14 years old. Or Spider D, or Sparky D, or Roxanne Shante, or, you know what I mean? Like, cats that, you know, skinny boys. Or, you know, motherfuckers, you'd be like, oh shit.
You interviewed the Skinny Boys?
I didn't. But I'm just saying, I would have.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But those are the type of cats. So it's not just, you know, one week you might see me sitting down with Chuck D or Big Daddy Kane or Diamond D. But like I said, you know, then the next week I'm sitting down with I don't know, Tiny T or Snake Puppy from LA Dream Team. You know, I had Egyptian Lover on my show. And he brought his drum machine and he played it.
That's dope.
Played his 808 live and I freestyled over his shit. It was just clowning. You know what I mean? So it's just me being this hip hop fan all over again, and or just reliving the great times with my peers. And it's a beautiful thing. You know, so it's the YouTube channel is the Going Way Back Show, GOIN, the Going Way Back Show. And you can find it on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to it, hit that notification tag, and catch me every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific. Since Shot's passing, you know, I took a few weeks off because I had to get myself together. And I think this week it'll be my first week back, which is tomorrow.
Okay.
And it'll be actually the show is going to be dedicated to Shot and the genius of Humpty Hump. So it's going to be a conversation with myself, his brother Kent, who was the original other Humpty Hump, and young Hump, who is the now other Humpty Hump. They just talk about some of the secrets and some of the codes and some of the guidelines that Shot set forth for us to all have to live by within this world that he created. You know, he actually gave us a handbook when we got in Digital Underground. How we dress. Every time we was in public, we had to have on dark shades, all kind of shit. Like he had it all scripted, written out. This is what we're gonna be. This is how we're gonna look. This is how we're gonna act. This is how you need to answer questions. Never tell them the full story about anything. We live in this world. These are the other characters. This is what you need to know about their backstory. Like all of it. We had to know all of that shit. And he created it. Man. So
that's crazy.
That's great.
It is, but what do they say? Like, what's the difference between genius and insanity? You know, it's only crazy if it don't work. But when it works, it's genius, right? You're insane if it doesn't, but if it's working, you're a genius. But it's such a fine line. You know what I mean? You just have to be able to imagine all of these things and like I said, think outside of the box and have the creativity and be fearless enough to present them to people not knowing if they will accept it or not. You know? That's another thing that he taught me. He's like, fucking go for it. Say it.
Yeah. Wow. Rakim had posted, did you see that post Rakim made?
Yeah.
That was crazy how Shock had drawn a picture as a kid
Right. So I'm gonna have to have Rakim on the show.
You gotta.
Because no, I'm only saying that because you know in this thing he's talking about how Shock came up to his hotel room and gave him the picture and all that shit. I remember something different. He gave it to him, but in a different setting. So I'm gonna wait till I get him on the show. We're gonna talk about that because maybe he has to, remind me.
Jog the memory a little.
Yeah, jog my memory.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he might got it. Goddamn. One of us is crazy.
Right.
but it's
Wow.
good. But it's the same. But he did it in the same way. He presented it to me. I just remember it being in a different setting.
Okay.
Hey, do you still have that book? The guidelines?
You know, I am a hoarder of all of our memorabilia, and I have a lot of stuff. And that's actually why I'm getting into the NFT space as well, because I do have so much that I believe is valuable. So look out. OG2B.com is the platform that actually am partners with and going to be releasing some NFTs with that. I think that I may have it and I know it exists somewhere. So even if I don't have it here, it may turn up in one of my mom's old boxes because I was living with my mom at the time. So it exists. It's gonna turn up somewhere somehow. But yeah, it's like a 2 or 3 page like leaflet of he drew everything on it.
That's great.
Man, shit, I got shit right here. Hold on, let me see something. Like this is one of the original drawings that he drew when he was making up our logo. This
Wow.
is a sketch that he did. He just gave, you can still see the pencil lines, and he just put a marker, and he was like, "This is what it's gonna be, right?"
Yeah.
I have it. So what would they pay on the blockchain for that?
That's hard.
You get something for that for sure.
Yeah, a lot of shit like that,
That's crazy. Was he into comic books? Or were y'all in?
I was more than probably anybody as a child. You know, love Marvel and DC. To be honest with you, crazy story is my uncle Jimmy passed away a couple years ago, but he was my father's youngest brother. He was an artist as well, but he collected comic books. So I remember as a child, I just had stacks and stacks of these comic books at my grandmother's house. And I do remember like some of the Batmans and Spider-Mans saying like 1 and 2, like first, second, and third, right? And I just kept these stacks of comics, all these original comics. Remember I said I would always go to my grandmother's in Philly in the summer. So he was just like, "Here, you can have them." And I used to flip through them, but I keep them in the room. And I remember one summer I came to my grandmother's and I looked under the bed. I was like, "Where's all the comics at?" My grandmother, she was like, and she cussed like a sailor. She was like, "Man, I didn't all this bullshit up my house, and you don't even be here. I threw that shit out." She was all the comics away.
No.
Just imagine how much those things were worth. And they were kept as well. They wasn't raggedy.
Damn.
They weren't in plastic, but they were kept.
Oh goodness, Lord have mercy.
So I don't know how much Shock was into comics, but he was into the art, like the original artist that did all the Parliament artwork. Stuff. I forget his name. He actually did a Pac-Man cover, the Pac-Man thing. What's his name? God damn it. He's the famous artist that used to do Parliament shit.
I'm familiar with the work.
He did, but Shock was just, I don't know where he drew that inspiration. It wasn't so much comic books that I read, but he was just a great cartoonist, a great artist. Yeah, he made this book called The Assholes. I hope that someday it sees the light of day. It's dope. It's like a coffee book of these characters, asshole characters. funniest book.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Dope. Well,
And he
brother,
was looking,
I really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Yeah.
Taking time out of your day, and you know, man, we were praying for you guys. When the whole thing happened, and man, and just we got you. You know what I'm saying? Anything you need,
well,
man. Just
Chuck, I'd
we
like
got you here,
to
man.
keep in touch with you. We're actually planning to do a life celebration for shots in the Bay Area.
Okay.
Okay.
So right now the date is August 21st
Mhm.
Okay.
in Oakland. And, because his birthday is August 25th, so the week of his birthday
My
is,
birthday,
is what, 25th?
25th.
Same day as Shot G.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Words.
we're all Virgos, like about 6 of us, which is fucked up.
Crazy.
But yeah, August 21st. Like I'm actually about to jump off and jump into another meeting about the planning of it. But once we have the deck together, I'd like to send it to you. And then if there's any way you guys want to contribute in any way,
Yeah,
even
we're
to
there.
cover it or whatever, I'd like to get it to you. So I don't know if you want to send me a number or how you want to do it.
I'll drop my number in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'll send you mine too as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
and even on social media at MoneyB69. If you just want to hit me in the DM, that's easy enough, right?
Yeah. I'll do that too.
For sure. All right. Well, you know what? Chuck, is there anything else you want to ask? Are you good or?
Just salute, man. I just want to say, man, I really appreciate you guys, man. Just as artists, at that point, and people don't understand. At that point, hip hop was so competitive. It was, to get in was hard. It wasn't easy. It's probably hard too, just a different type of hardcore, but it was not easy to get. To me, Digital Underground just represents the way fate works and the way the magic happens and way that God puts his hands on us and we don't necessarily understand. Shock G, I never even really knew he was from the East Coast. And to know that this guy kind of just traveled and made his way to meet you and Pac and all this magic, to me is
the way he got there. He was really. You ever heard that song, "A Good Thing Never Rapping"? It's when he was rapping, I'll be macking. That's a true story. He had a little pimp bone. That's how he moved across the country. That's how he got to Oakland. He had a little chick that was working with him.
Yeah. It's crazy, man, when you really think about it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, brother, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go about your day. But man, I appreciate you, coming on again, and Styles from West Coast Styles, Chuck from allhiphop.com. You know what I'm saying? Salute, brother.
thank you.
All right.
All right. Hey, I'm gonna holler at y'all. All right.
I'm gonna text
Put
you.
your number in there too, so we get it.
Well, we can talk now because the broadcast has ended.
All right, that's what's up.
Yeah.